Hello, Blue Jays fans, and welcome to today's edition of Jay's Latest. Today, we're going to have a very much rant-filled morning, I think. Watching the game yesterday, I wanted to record this after the game yesterday, but oh dear God, I couldn't. I was not in the right spot, mind space, whatever you wanted to call it, because the Tampa Bay Rays just blasted us yesterday, would be the nicest way of saying it. So let's talk about this roller coaster that we've been on. The Blue Jays literally were hot off of sweeping the San Diego Padres in a series where we just destroyed them. Tons of runs. I think it was 25 runs scored supposedly in the series, something like that. And they didn't even score a run. That was the beauty of it. It's like, oh my God, they didn't score it until the last game, which became a close one at 7-6. But the San Diego Padres obviously got walked off with, I believe it was Ernie Clement. But anyway, um, let's fast forward to this series. The Tampa Bay Rays have been doing nothing but owning the Toronto Blue Jays at Steinbrenner Field. We have collectively scored 2 runs to their 19 as of yesterday, as the Blue Jays get, like I said, dusted 13-0. So this ended up with a position player pitching at the end for the Blue Jays in, like I said, what turned into a 13-0 loss. Only 4 hits for the Toronto Blue Jays, 15 for the Tampa Bay Rays. And the crazier thing in this whole thing is this wasn't a horrible beginning. It eventually just went off the rails in the in the fifth inning when Bassett comes back out for another inning of work. And it just started with a bunch of peppered in little tiny hits. It just kept going and going and going. And then all of a sudden, the Rays poured it on. A little extra sauce. And as they literally bat around the lineup almost twice in the fifth inning. 7 runs scored by the Tampa Bay Rays yesterday in the fifth inning. 5 of those charged to Chris Bassett, who picks up his 3rd loss of the season. 9 hits for allowed, a home run, and wow, that escalated quickly. It's about the best way I can say it. The Rays just continued to continue moving that line around. Not a lot of extra home runs or anything. Eventually, there was another one by Curtis Mead late in the inning off of Paxton Schultz. Yes, Curtis Mead, his 3rd home run. But that was just, like I said, they just did such a good job of moving the line around and just continuing to get hits, continuing to take walks. The Blue Jays, I hope, paid attention to this game yesterday because this is stuff that they could be doing to win ball games. They really need to figure out this part of the baseball game and just continue to figure out how to bring more runs in, period, right? Because only having 4 hits in this game against Ryan Pepiot yesterday was not getting it done. And Pepiot, 7 innings of work only allows the 3 hits. This is a lineup that was on fire against the Padres, and he only allows 4 base runners in his 7 innings. Uh, it just hurts. Like I said, I couldn't stand it. I was in a mindset that I was not ready to talk about this yesterday after the ball game, and it still hurts. So, how do the Blue Jays continue to, not do this? Would be a better question. Where do we find some consistency to get this going back? Because right now, this is still a team that's only 2 games under 500. Um, Oddly enough, now the Rays are 500, who were obviously at the beginning of this season or this series, they were 2 games under. So it's amazing how the tide shifts. And they got to find something to be able to iron this out, whether it's playing more small ball, getting some extra help in this pitching rotation and whatnot, because that was part of it too. Bassett, obviously, I can't blame, but this series in general, it was just a horrible time for the bullpen. So they got to figure out a way to get help. And we also lost Jimmy Garcia to the IL in this past week. And we also lost Tyler Heineman for who knows how long for the concussion protocol stuff. So Ellie Sanchez was the one that got called up, and he looked pretty good behind the plate, but don't expect him to do what Heineman's been doing at the plate and keep things moving. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Toronto Blue Jays do over the next few weeks because they need to stop right now. And they got to find it quick because the Toronto Blue Jays cannot continue to hang around 500 here and hoping their prayers are going to be answered with a playoff berth, because that's not going to happen. There's too many other good teams in this American League right now, and I really will be shocked if any of the wild cards actually come out of the American League East with how good the Centrals looked and whatnot. So, well, who hasn't been doing well, you might ask, as we're struggling and trying to figure out where we could go next and what we could do and how these things could work. There's a bright spot. We are going to Texas to continue this road trip. It'll be in a dome. Won't be as hot, hopefully. And the Blue Jays will be taking on a team that, as of yesterday, has lost 8 games in a row. So the Texas Rangers are in a very odd spot, but they're on a shitty streak, just like the Toronto Blue Jays are right now. They can't hit, they can't pitch, they can't do anything right. They had the game in their hand yesterday, and they still lost it. So what do they need to do to get going? And that was the bigger question. I almost forgot to talk about this. I gotta talk. Ernie Clement played all 4 infield positions during this game yesterday. That's how wild this game was. And then you ended up getting Mike Stefanik to pitch an inning, and he was perfect. Just saying. Just throwing meteors at the top of the strike zone, and they were trying to tank him so hard that they couldn't even get him out of the box. It was fun watching Stefanik pitch. So like I said, Texas is having a horrible hard time, but they do have Jake DeGrom on the mound today at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. Memorial Day here in the States, so a lot of the games are going to be in the afternoon around Major League Baseball today to obviously celebrate our soldiers. And whatnot. But to that point, Kevin Gossman is going to be the contrary to that for the Blue Jays. He had an amazing outing his last time. So got his ERA just about 4. I'm hoping the Blue Jays can take advantage and find a way to get to this rough lineup that is the Texas roster right now. But Jake DeGrom is definitely not an easy task, and he is looking like the Jake DeGrom of old. So we'll see how he ends up performing, where he goes on that whole thing, because Gossman versus DeGrom is a fun matchup. But the rest of the team has been very rough. I'm hoping it is us advantage in that equation, but we'll find out. So anyways, Blue Jays fans, make sure you tune in this Wednesday to All Things Jaybird Watching podcast, because we are going to have that rock star I keep telling you about, Shane Told from Silverstein, is going to be on the show to talk all things Blue Jays baseball and obviously their upcoming new album for their 25th anniversary of doing music together. So make sure you check that out. And we'll be back here every day so you can talk all things Blue Jays with us and see what wonderful news is up. I hope you all have a great day, and go Blue Jays.